Welcome everyone to a quick after work video. After some thinking, I pre-ordered a Steam Deck, but hear me out. So obviously we have an M1 Mac here, but not terribly impressed by Apple's vendor login and stuff. And also, sure, I have some other old and stuff laptops, and I wanted to have something more portable than obviously all my laptops. And I was thinking, why not use this obviously game console here, Linux based, supporting companies in the Linux, voting with the wallet and voting and supporting, well, not that they would need support, financial support, but anyway, a little bit voting with the wallet here for Linux stuff. Because if you're new to the stuff, so what is it? That is Steam's latest Linux gaming portable machine here with AMD Zen 2 silicon, so AMD APU Zen 2 4-core 8 threads, 2.4 to 3.5 gigahertz, with an latest all-new GPU 8 RDNA 2, what do they call it, computing unit or something, a APU 4 to 15 watts, so Apple M1 territory, 16 gigs of LPDDR5 memory, and then something in between, 64 gigs of eMMC or later other models, 256 or 512 gig of NVMe or higher speed PCIe Gen 3 storage. And of course, otherwise, of course, it doesn't come with a keyboard, but some buttons and pads and analog triggers and stuff. Audio, obviously, it's 1280 by 800, 16 by 10, right? So much to pixel screen real estate. Also, of course, only 7-inch diagonal and ambient light sensor and stuff. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and USB Type-C. So you can use this as they even advertise this. So my thinking is, obviously, coding on the fly, I need some external Bluetooth keyboard, right? But let's make this experiment. Let's just try something new. And here you see this, use this deck as a PC, of course, with T2 Linux, right? I think they said, how was it? Who ships is Chromium. I think they said it's based on Arch Linux, our competitor, one of those 1993 Linux distributions. Of course, I will primarily use our T2 Linux, obviously, if you're new to this channel. But so as far as I remember, Google Chromium's basing this loosely on Gentoo maybe, and that apparently don't, your mileage may vary, but I heard Arch Linux based. So this is exactly what I was thinking. It's like, why not use this smaller than, getting tired of tablets and stuff. And my idea is portable, thin client, plugs this into your USB-C cable there. And similar, I tried this previously, a little bit bigger than an Android phone. And previously I tried this Samsung DeX experience that was a total laggy affair, not impressed with that. And because it was running VNC and stuff. And they also canceled it, right? So I was part of this beta program. I made a video some 2 years or so ago, terribly slow and stuff, and they haven't done this. So, I mean, also what are companies thinking, right? Making something so laggy and VNC it's like, you really need like a snappy experience. Of course, otherwise, why is it otherwise amazing? Maybe for you, maybe you want to try the same stuff. They also have apparently maybe some dock thing there in the works, maybe. But of course, you can use many generic USB-C ones. And otherwise, this might be actually the year of the Linux desktop, right? So much to, well, may or may not, at least the year of the gaming Linux desktop. Steam is here massively promoting their Proton implementation of using Wine, the Windows subsystem for Linux, with surrounding stuff and precisely curated setup, so that like basically taking Wine, like refining it, like adding all the glue, all the configuration, bits and pieces to like perfect the experience, that more stuff works out of the box. So who knows, maybe after all this might actually be the closest that Linux will come to the year of the Linux desktop. The reviews are so far out. Many people are impressed. Of course, we are not yet a preferred YouTuber, so you probably want to share, like, and subscribe our tiny little hobby YouTube channel here. But some feeling lucky, a few lucky YouTubers, it's usual people somewhat impressed so far of, they can't install Linux and stuff, but obviously a carefully curated gaming console they can handle, and mostly impressed. Hardware looks solid. The CPU, I tweeted this actually somewhere. I could have opened that in our Discord. I tweeted that, someone tweeted that, was it here maybe? That this has a Steam specific, where is it freaking heck? Was it not here? No, anyway, doesn't matter. So the CPU is custom, similar to Sony and stuff. So you have there some Steam Valve. Do they show this here somewhere? Maybe it was visible somewhere. Anyway, not that it would matter what is engraved in on the probably like that. They said not that it would totally like YOLO whatever what is printed or engraved on the CPU, right? But the reviews, or like the early looks, it's not really reviews, but early look sophisticated, or certainly higher quality and somewhat repairable. So certainly thumbs up for that. And they even released some CAD files. Although I don't really like, I like CAD files for repair and stuff, and I hope they didn't promise that, but there's always hope, right? Hope dies last. Maybe some schematics, maybe Steam. I don't really like what they propose here. It's like, hey, they're good news. Tinkerers and modders and accessory manufacturers 3D print a Steam Deck to see how it feels. I'm like, don't waste, don't litter the environment. Don't waste your 3D printer to print the shell to see how it feels. It's like, YOLO, the total waste of filament. But otherwise, certainly applaud the release of CAD files. More people should do that. For me, it is a little bit like the rare ultra portable Sony Vario that I have in my collection. Of course, way more modern hardware and not a keyboard. So it's like, but as I said, laptops I certainly have enough. It's a little bit ironically, I once purchased a Linux gaming handheld, for those who might remember the GP2X. That was ARM 920T based in like 2005, long before I started a YouTube channel, with design for homebrew developers. And back in the day, I already wanted to support that, probably I brought that maybe like in 2006 or so, for use with D2 and stuff. But I had to send it back, to be honest, so I don't have that anymore. Within like a week, like 7 days, I sent it back, because mostly actually, beside ARM 920T, back in the day, right, a totally underpowered affair, and some strange sort of, what was it even, Magic Eyes, who heard of that, right? Not probably like zero graphic acceleration, but the biggest thing is, I would have, 2006 also, right, was even probably like the year of the iPhone, so But the biggest issue with this, what I totally couldn't stand at all, was the display was strangely flickering. So there was some flickering and like strange moire effect that's like I could totally not stand. And you can up with a lot of lack of CPU and lack of graphic acceleration, but if the screen is flickering and moire effects, you had me as that. But nowadays, of course, that is not a thing anymore. Obviously, you don't have crappy displays in this high-end machine. I think it's starting at $399. So far reserved, so I reserved that. You have $419. I think it's $399. So the thing is, why I also make this video, because I'm totally aware I'm neither a preferred YouTuber yet. And the thing is also, here in Europe, we usually get this stuff last. This is why I wanted to share this idea. So maybe you want to reserve that. That is some $4 or so I was of like prepayment of like, yeah, some goodwill and probably their inventory and pre-order management stuff. And yeah, I went all in. I pre-ordered the $679 version because obviously YouTube and performance and stuff, and apparently whatever. But yeah, shipping after Q2, so will be a while, unfortunately. Your US people and people who pre-ordered it earlier, I only pre-ordered it recently. But anyway, leave in the comments below what you think about this idea. It is certainly, you would hope this, or not hope, the thing is, it's like Paperwhite, right? My recurring Paperwhite, oh, we are still doing the P3 stuff, right? So it's not only a portable P3, but it's a totally open thing, right? And this is also what I appreciate here in this thing, and why I decided to put my money on this. Using this as a portable workstation thing, and it's totally open, right? And this is what I appreciate with that, like open. Not that x86, I would prefer more RISC, but x86 is what high performance we get these days. But this difference is, and what Apple and console companies are not really getting, is you can install your own stuff, right? I mean, the Linux that ships with it is probably amazing, probably performance optimized and gaming and Proton and stuff. And if you don't like it, or just because you want to run your own Linux distribution like T2 or Windows, you can just install it, unlike PS5 or Xbox or whatever. And that is what I appreciate in this thing. And then for me as a developer, you have this gaming form factor. So if you want to do some homebrew stuff, I mean, you can use it for anything, right? If you put on there a decent virtual keyboard, or a Bluetooth keyboard, you can use this for all kinds of stuff, right? For me, portable thin client, development workstation, homebrew stuff, connect all your peripherals, and you have all those buttons and analog sticks and pads and stuff built in. So for if you do some homebrew 3D stuff, AR stuff or whatever, you have the crazy analog controls and stuff, touchpad and so on. And so yeah, that will be interesting. I hope it arrives sooner than later. Leave in the comments below how crazy this idea is. And yeah, for me as a upcoming YouTuber here, certainly some thing to have in stock to test, review and tinker with. And certainly obviously T2 Linux, right? Leave in the comments below how crazy you find this idea. Is this, do you think this is some worthwhile idea to use as a portable? Now, where was it? Here. The best Linux gaming console probably ever. Use it as a Linux PC while at it. Maybe the year of Linux desktop, but yeah, also this is so crazy, right? After Red Hat, now IBM, SUSE, Ubuntu, and all the Linux companies, it's like 2022. Maybe Steam actually finally introduces a Year of the Linux desktop through gaming. Crazy times. We have some comments. That's basically it. Not there much to see. Of course, yeah, pre-order. You know how it is, especially here in Europe. We already got the AMD ThinkPads last, so yeah, what should I do? Except maybe migrate to the USA. Anyway, here's the stuff. Do we also have somehow? Can we switch that to whatever? Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Also, additionally, for even as a YouTuber, right, you could use it as a like monitor thing here, right, on the desk. If you're not gaming, then it's like YouTube monitor and all crazy stuff. Like when you live stream from your RISC-V Linux desktop or stuff. Is it a low blood recommend? Yeah, so I think, so initially there was some confusion. They clarified, I could have ordered the cheapest one, but then I thought, can also take the exclusive virtual keyboard theme or exclusive carrying case. And And yeah, that's a good point. Initially, there was some confusion whether you need to order the higher end version, but I think they clarified all versions. I think it was here in the hardware listing somewhere, like tech specs. I think they officially clarified that all versions come with the M.2 socket, so user serviceable but not recommended. I think something of that sort was the wording here somewhere. But M.2, yeah, all models use socketed 20 to 30 M.2 modules, not intended for end user replacement, but possible. All modules include high-speed micro SD card slot. But yeah. They even upstreams Linux patches pre-ordered on behalf. Matt Toys agrees pre-ordered on behalf. The deck is open based on Arch Linux. Very hyped. Yeah, similar stuff. And what else? Same. Only play few games. Yeah. Ironically, even the PlayStation 3. Ironically, I know on 4 PS3s, of which one I've not seen in person. The recurring subscribers might know me here for the PS3 stuff, keeping that alive. And ironically, I own 4 PS3s. The latest is, of course, a DECR 1000. But because I'm not in Berlin right now, this is still waiting for me to power up and stuff. So ironically, although I now own 4 PS3s, I only own like maybe 3 or 4 games, of which I played. Okay, I think I played Gran Turismo 6 or whatever that was, but the other game also sucked. The other game was like Formula 1, whatever that was, and that sucked and stuff. So yeah, I own like 2 or 3 or maximum 4 games, which I never played. And obviously Linux development and stuff. But again, as I said, maybe this changes here with that, now that we have a Unio anyway. But for me, AMD low performance, low power, high performance AMD hardware, totally open. And this kind of stuff is exactly what Sony did not want, right? Sony did not want people to buy the subsidized PS3 for homebrew stuff, because this is probably also one reason they locked the GPU on Linux initially, obviously because they freaking wanted to make money with games. But yeah, I appreciate this kind of open hardware, all the in controls, probably some software to do here. Like homebrew test and fun stuff. And what else do we have testing? So yeah, all the stuff is x86, of course. Even friendly all third-party games not currently what does what Steam Proton thing is even friendly enough to allow third-party games. Yeah, I mean this Proton is only, as I said initially, curated Wine, patched and integrated with all the surrounding libraries and components so that it works. I mean, it's not locked at all, right? It's the same open x86 Windows compatible subsystem for Linux that is Wine, just patched, tested, and configured and stuff. And it's not intended to be locked, so it's intended to just improve the Wine experience. And I actually tried to package that with T2. It was kind of pointless. Proton GitHub. The build system is a little bit annoying. And I mean, we have Wine in T2 since 20 years, since my Rock Linux times. And I don't like the build process here, right? It's like you had me at the end Git build this with, like, set up this build environment and container, and it's like, nah, seriously, yeah, whatever. What we probably should do, like, as I said, it's Wine with stuff, so Open VR and VKD3D, and so we probably should make a better, I mean, it's just the stuff, right? So it's just like, or GST plugins, and I looked at this, or like DXVK. Yeah. Long story short, it's difficult, and it's which probably why they packaged it with this containerized build environment here. It's just exactly the stuff that I don't appreciate the most, this containerized build stuff of like, yeah, let's just fetch all the stuff and build all the stuff, which is the point of Linux distribution. But yeah, not sure if we have a GitHub issue open for that, but we need to make a better job to integrate more stuff here, and like F audio and stuff, and build it in some way similar to Proton without this containerized build stuff. But as I said, I certainly can appreciate their efforts to make Wine and the surrounding components, libraries, and so on at a better place, and contributing much more than many other things to the Linux desktop for sure. And let's hope we get the hardware sooner than later, and we will have some fun with it. And yeah, Roland says they do that container stuff to run on most Linux distributions. Yeah, it's probably not as much as glibc ABI as libraries, and I mean glibc and GCC ABI is stable, but it's probably also, I guess it's also building actually WinGW stuff here, right? So it's probably it's not as much as Linux ABI stuff, but more building all the MinGW. How is this even pronounced in English? Min, I always, yeah, so much too. Not talking English all day. But yeah, it's probably more of containerizing this, building Windows, native Windows DLLs and stuff, and less more the Windows craziness and less a Linux craziness. So yeah, let's one quick look to the comments, and Toy says, I kinda don't like Proton. In the end, it's a layer that will hurt performance. Well, Proton is not, for the most part, not an additional layer, right? So then you would need to say you don't like Wine. But fun fact is that Wine is actually not really hurting performance that much. And ironically, I mean, you've seen previously, not only do I have a metal box version of Quake 3 Arena and some games from the DOS area. I even played Formula 1 Grand Prix, was it Formula 1 Grand Prix 3 or so? In 2000, like basically 20 years ago, long before all this Linus Tech Tick stuff was a thing. So 20 years ago, I played like AAA Windows games, like Formula 1 Grand Prix 3 or whatever that was. Even had some blog, 20 years ago, had a post on my website detailing the setup to get it running. So yeah, 20 years coming full circle live here on YouTube, our tech setup. And Wine is not hurting performance as much really, because it's, for the most part, it's not a layer like that. It's not a layer, like it's not like a virtualization layer hurting and wasting, consuming performance. It's actually implementing the ABI. So for the, like, I would say easily like 95% or even more, like 99% is simply re-implementing Microsoft Windows APIs on Linux. And this is just native performance as it is on Windows. So it's for 99% not a layer of wasting performance, but just a compatible implementation, like SyncQT or GTK plus Sync software, like all the hundreds, if not thousands, of Windows DLLs, like a direct 3D and modern variants of that implementation, and all the C runtime and all the Windows dynamic linker and stuff. So yeah, it's not as performance hurting and as bad as it is. The only thing, actually, I would say the only thing that is not ideal with Wine and Proton is that it's not advertising native Linux games that I had back in the day, like Quake 3. I think we even have a second Linux game. I think we had something else that was a Linux port. I need to go through my CDs in the office. But the thing is basically, But maybe this is not the worst thing, because given, as Roland said, they're previously containerizing that for Linux compatibility, this build stuff, maybe in the end, the good old, like decade-old Win32 API is a stable API to work against for the Linux desktop after all. So although as ironic as it is, Windows subsystem for Linux may be in the end the enablement for the success of Linux after all, being a stable API that companies and businesses use and love to use for all their business shit for decades. So maybe in the end of the day, not the very worst thing. So yeah, one very last thing, Arch is often links new symbols exist in Ubuntu issue. I mean, this happens naturally. It's not an Arch thing. Even when we build T2 stuff, this is unfortunate, their version symbol. So that's not an Arch Linux thing. This is an automated glibc symbol versioning thing. So each time, this is why when I ship stuff, I intentionally build stuff against, link stuff against very old version of glibc, just so that that is available at all the customer systems. By the way, fun fact, how you can easily ship binary compatible software on Linux. Soon the converted interface to trapping syscalls and user space emulate the NT kernel syscalls for games that bypass are there. I think there is one more thing that was this FS segment stuff. There was some FS segment switching, whatever stuff, but by the way, can we, yeah, I mean, so yeah, that's basically it for this video. What else do we have? I wonder what other, maybe we can click Loki. Was it Loki, the company Loki Games, Linux ports? We might have, is this 2018? I wonder which other game we could have had. Maybe my brother once brought something. Railroad Tycoon, seriously? Are those all game ports? Games published? Doesn't immediately ring a bell. Or maybe Myth 2? No. Ah, no, I think I have this CD. Maybe it's this. I think I've seen this CD in the office. Seen this CD in the office. Basically, I have just my old CDs there, obviously. I think it could be this one. I've seen this recently. I had it in my hands when I was sorting stuff. So yeah, maybe. But I didn't buy this. Maybe this is my brother's. But obviously, all the vintage stuff nobody wants is in my office archive. Anyway, so yeah, maybe it was that. So that's it for this video. Leave in the comments below what you think. And that's it for this video. I hope this will be amazing. At least I have some. The only thing is I've not seen too many good virtual keyboards for Linux, so maybe it's time for me also to write and code some virtual keyboards. And yeah, with this stuff, there's actually one last sentence, that's really the last one, which is with this stuff you can really have some great fun doing some homebrew stuff. Like if you want to go into game development and write some side scroller, some jump and run, some do some like homebrew Minecraft and stuff, then devices like this certainly pretty amazing to play and tinker with at home. That's it for the video. I hope you learned something and enjoyed this. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and I hope to see you soon for all the next videos and live streams to come.